Hi, babe.
We're back.
Yes, after a while, every time we have to shoot a podcast, it always feels like we have never done it before. And we don't know what to talk about.
And this is probably the last podcast recording for the year.
No, because we record a few episodes, right?
Yeah, I know. So today we're gonna talk about something interesting as usual.
So how has coaching been for you? Like, how's life been with all the various...
I have to say this year, it has been getting tougher. In a sense, the difficulty that people face in their marriages are more complex. So the problems that they raise, the struggles that they go through, and sometimes people get so stuck in that mindset or the pattern that they're so used to, or that hurt that they couldn't forgive. It's just hard. You've seen me some of the nights, I'm just drained.
Yep.
Right? At the end of a call, I can't talk to anybody, and I am, I would say, sometimes I feel bad for them because I know how hard it is to be in those situations.
Yeah.
So my take is, it's always better to prevent than having to fix a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And so happened after one of the sessions this past week, one of my clients actually texted me excitedly and said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you just now over the call, I've been listening to your podcast."
Yay!
Yay! So
our podcast is
gaining traction slowly.
1%.
Hence slow podcast.
Slow?
So she said this. she said, I've been listening to your podcast, especially the one on affair.
Yeah. How to affair-proof your marriage?
Yes. And she said, not only that, I share it with my colleagues, and the comments that she has gotten from the colleagues were great comments. Some find it easier to get into those hard conversations with their partner. They probably listen to it in the car and then manage to get into some of those tough conversations that people don't really talk about. So I thought it was great that we covered that topic.
Maybe
as
we have to
was.
find out whether the length was good or not. Like, we are like almost subconsciously, unconsciously expert in 18 minutes, kind of like a podcast.
That's our max. Our lowest was 10.
That was 10?
10.
Was it
10 to
true?
15 minutes sometimes.
10 to 15 is 10 or 15. 10 to 15 is like 50%
10
difference.
To 15, there are certain ones
the
at
range.
12, certain ones at 14, certain ones at 12, 16, 10.
Maybe catering to busy lifestyle, 10, 18 minutes. Good stuff.
And I think it should be like that like a conversation like this, probably it's just 10 minutes. It's actually a great way for couples to connect.
Yep.
Because the common issue was, we're too busy, we have no time, we're so overwhelmed with kids, we're so tired, we can't do anything else, we don't know what else to do, I have no hobby, I don't know what I like, he's too busy with hobby. So there's all sorts of excuses.
Why it feels like you're talking about me?
I'm not looking at you, I'm looking somewhere else. So something like that. And I think if you learn to practice it in your relationship, it's going to make a huge difference in the long run.
Yeah.
In the beginning, probably it's just talking about normal stuff or even unimportant stuff.
Yep.
Small talks. If you do the small talks well, I believe you can always grow that into deeper conversations. Someone just posted a question on my IG asking me, how do I get into deep conversation with my partner?
It's like swimming, right? You learn from the shallow end, and then you go to the deeper end. I think the world that we live in has this like obsession to be able to talk about difficult subjects. It feels like we are there when we are able to do it. But a lot of people do not know how to get there. Like, really, I feel if we are not even comfortable talking about small stuff, it's very weird if we just jump straight into very hard topic and you don't know the temperature, the feeling of each other, and then it ends up like fighting and, you know. So yeah, that's one of the things. But the other day, I thought you answered the question brilliantly when someone asked, how do we manage? How should we manage our finances together or separately? And then you say transparently.
Yeah.
And I think it was beautiful. I actually reposted your story because it is not the method, right? It's actually the intention.
The intention and the way of life,
Yeah.
right? But it
No,
begins
but
with
the way of life
intention.
must be informed by the intention, not the other way around. I think very often when someone hear this podcast, they'll be like, okay, what's the strategy for a great marriage? No, but the intention is, why do you get married in the first place? For me, it's because I want to do life with you. I'm happy. So we will never have the same strategy for every season of our lives, right? But it doesn't mean, oh, if I change strategy, then I change my partner, meh? It's not like that. And I think investing in taking that time to ask that question, why did we fall in love in the first place? Yeah, it could be just emotion, it could be just a nice feeling, but when we decide from falling in love to being married now, there must be that original intention. It may not be great, like, oh, I just wanted someone to give birth to some children because to continue my heritage. Not great, right, when you hear that. But if we feel that we have outgrown that to maybe differently, like wanting to love my wife and provide for her and help her realize the potential of her life, and that's our intention, then this season maybe helping you to realize your true self or your hidden potential is by coaching, or next season, don't know, like maybe you want to open a cafe and start baking. How do I know, right? Maybe you're not thinking about it. So as long as the intention of why we get married and the desire of what we want to get to is intact, I think it would be fun to keep changing strategies. And that variety excites the marriage, because then we don't have to go through the boredom of running through that cycle again and again and again and again.
And I think a
that's
very
cool.
good intention that couples can learn to have in the coming year is actually the name of our podcast, Slow. It's not slowing everything down, not doing anything, but it's taking the time to really build that very thing that really matters.
Yep.
So for example, like that question, how can I build deeper conversation with my partner? How that, right, they just shut me off. Then if you have that intention next year to really rebuild the connection through deeper conversations, what are you doing every other day, right, to build towards that level of deep connection?
Yeah, so I think yeah, going back to that, say I love soccer and you love
Swimming.
swimming, right? Like
Swimming.
I love to watch football, you love swimming. If I'm not interested in your swimming, you're not interested in my football club, and we're trying to do things apart from each other, there's no common ground to even start a conversation. Then if we don't have a common ground to start a conversation, we're finding out very agitated with each other because you never asked me about how my football club is doing, and I never asked you, like, is your swimsuit still okay, or how many laps did you do today? There's no starting point. If there's no starting point, then the next starting point is frustration. There is a healthy, loving starting point, interested in each other kind of a starting point.
And this is where people get it wrong. Their starting point is always after a
Frustration.
long day at work, they come home, they thought, get into a conversation. So how's your day at work? And usually the partner will say,
Good.
good.
But no.
And that's it.
But that question could be with the intention of fishing you to ask me back how was my day. But then when we don't, so the first starting point ought to be genuinely interested in what the other person's doing, or how the other person has spent the day, then kind of like, oh wow, I love it. My wife asked me about my day, or my husband asked me about my day. Then I feel, yeah, I can ask about my spouse their day. But we get stuck at, what if I ask her about my day, she didn't ask me about my day?
Yep. Or I always ask them about their day. All they say is good, and nothing else.
No, actually, do they want them to say something else, or actually they are fishing for their spouse to ask them back their day? I just feel sometimes it's too hard, too complicated. Just ask my spouse, how's your day, babe? Like, you had a good time? Like, was it hard? Okay. You want me to make you a coffee or make you tea, prepare dinner? That's it. Like, yeah, if I keep a record of how come I asked Esther 25 times already and she hasn't asked me about my day, so now I'm upset. I'm not going to ask her about her day anymore because I'm done. I have enough. Then we will never progress. Then the difficult question, the difficult hard topic would be, why you never ask me about my day? The progression to get to that place is not that. It requires steps. It requires understanding. It requires love. It requires interest. It requires a lot of trust.
Okay, if I were to ask you, because this is something that a lot of my female clients struggle with, right? And usually females, like, we could meet strangers, we can sit down, you know what, we can talk. I can tell them my whole world, my struggles, and then we get connected and feel so happy, like, oh, I found my new best friend, right? And then move on. So I think they expect that when it comes to their partners, right, their spouse. But a lot of times they get very disappointed when their partner don't want to engage in conversations further. So what is a good way for a wife or a partner or a girlfriend to engage their partner in conversation or connection? What's the lowest level? What's a good starting point?
But like I said, right, if, for example, if it's a wife asking the husband and the husband is like, good, that's my day. That's it. Like, I got nothing else to report, nothing big happened or something bad happened. I don't want to bring the problem home. Just generally like, oh, really? Cool. Let me just prepare dinner.
But what would get you in the right mood to engage me in healthy conversations?
I don't know. I think the difficult part is that every person is different. Like, if I had my dinner, I had my shower, I'm relaxed now. Maybe I feel more like talking about something else.
Or maybe it's just not the right time.
Yeah.
So, and if the partner wants to engage in a conversation out of nowhere, it gets stressful for a man too, if it's not in the right frame of mind, or if his mind is occupied somewhere else.
Yeah. No, I think it all depends. Like, if they just ask like less demanding stuff, I'm sure that's not a problem.
Well, I can't speak for many other people, but I find the easiest way for me to talk to you and get you talking
is when I'm driving.
Is when you're driving, or we are going out for a run.
Yeah.
Or when we are heading out to get groceries, or when we are trying to clean up the house. For me, I think the secret ingredient is activity.
Yeah.
Would you think so?
Yes, for sure. Because I would think when my mind is on engaging something, it's the same part of the brain that is now ready for engagement. If I come home, my mind is trying to disengage because I've had a long day, and you keep trying me to engage on how about the feast of the kids, like, do we want to go here, go there? Maybe I'm not in the engaging mood, I'm in the disengaging mood. So maybe after shower, I feel more engaged. It kind of like, I want to come home and unwind and end the day, and then I will come to a place where I will now get ready for the next day. If you know what I'm talking about. So when I'm in the mood of getting ready for the next day, and then you ask me, how about the school fees? Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I forgot about it. Let me make the payment now. But if I'm on a disengaging mode and you keep asking me to engage, it's kind of hard lah, right? It's like I took off the
I
seatbelt.
totally get it. But then, for a woman, they need to engage. So then it lies that unfairness thing where how come I always have to shift my goalposts, I shift all the way to the other end to find the right time to engage you. Why can't you, knowing that I actually need to unload, express my feelings, like talk about mental load?
I don't know whether it is because the wife may not be like in the workforce, or the wife could be like stay-home mom that has a lot of things that they have to do, equal pressures, but there's no outlet for them. So when the husband come home, it's like immediately like, oh, I want to... Let's put it that way, human beings are beautiful. To find the match in the different timing, to find that connection in the different connectivity, that finally we understand, okay, I know you don't want to talk. I don't talk first. When you're ready to talk, then we talk. I guess that, what is that word? That navigating through that different phases, I think that's the beauty of marriage. It's like, okay, I want to have sex. You don't feel like it. But I want it. I've been waiting for the whole time. No, this is not the right time. I guess on the other side, I want to engage. But no, I'm tired. I don't want to engage now because I don't want to. So the beauty of that human relationship, it's also found in the tension of the different expectation. We really got to work very hard to get there. To think that every marriage will just automatically find that balance, that equilibrium of perfect connectivity all the time, then there is nothing on to work on, and the marriage is going to come to a place that is very boring. Or I know what you're thinking, so I don't have to ask you anymore. Or you know what my thoughts are, we don't have to communicate. Then there's no spark, no tension, no nothing, and then the relationship dies. So, yeah.
So that's why it all starts with intention.
Yeah.
And a right intention to start off or end the year with.
Again, right, that's why, right, the part is strategy, right? The intention is we want to connect. The strategy is not you want to connect means you have to connect, or I want to do this means you have to do it. The intention is correct. Now let's find the strategy that work so that we're connected. So, yep.
I think to end this topic on intention.
I think we passed 80 minutes.
Yes.
Did we?
In my engineering mind, we need to help them then kickstart. What are some good strategies
Go out.
that we personally practice? The first thing is get
Go
out
out for a nice meal.
for a nice meal or even a fun activity. It will be a good starting point. Or even just go for a late night movie, right?
That'd be nice.
The whole act of just driving out and getting popcorn, having a movie, that would be the lowest level to start off with. Yeah, go-karting. Another one probably would be maybe brainstorm some physical activities together, because a lot of times we complain other than sex. Physical activity would be exercise together as a couple, going for a walk, or something that keeps you healthy, that is able to inject energy into your life so that you are not drained all the time.
Hire a photographer and take a couple portraits. That's fun.
Yeah. And something we will do is taking a drive to go get ice cream, right, on a midweek.
Write a letter to each other.
Write a letter to each other will be my forte.
Yeah, it's mine.
So, yeah, maybe if that's yours, you can try it out.
No, you have to write back to me. Otherwise, I write to who?
I will. But you gotta start it first.
I have been doing.
All right, so these are a few pointers for you to kickstart. And
So turn off this podcast and start doing it. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.